back, everybody. Joining us now is somebody that knows a thing or two about Supreme Court nominations. He actually shepherded them as the chief counsel for nominations at the Senate Judiciary Committee. Today, he is the president of the very impressive Article 3 project that did a lot of that research on Judge Jackson's record in this nomination. Joining us right now is Michael Davis. Mike, great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So much has transpired in a very short time in the period of this nomination. But I think the thing that struck me in the last couple of days, we're going to have a nominee go to the floor who had to be discharged. I don't think that's happened since the 1850s, and couldn't get anyone on the committee that heard the testimony to forward her nomination on the Republican side. Your thoughts about how this nomination leaves the committee?
Well, if you watched the Senate Democrats at the markup meeting and the vote, the debate before the vote at the committee, it should have been a jubilant political grand slam for them, and instead they were despondent. They looked like their puppy got ran over by a lawnmower, and it was just not good. And why it was not good is that the Article 3 project and Senate Judiciary Republicans actually did a deep dive into Judge Jackson's legal record for the last 25 years, going back to Harvard Law School for 4 years as President Obama's vice chair on the Sentencing Commission, and then her 8 years on the D.C. District Court. And we found a pretty clear pattern, a very troubling pattern of this, of her extreme, disqualifying, dangerous leniency for sex predators of kids. And Democrats can't defend that. You're not seeing Senate Democrats on TV right now defending Judge Jackson and her record. They've gone kind of crickets here, and that tells you all you need to know.
Mike, I am so glad you brought up her record. I'm not a lawyer. I need some assistance because I don't understand something. Last year, Mitt Romney opposed her nomination to a D.C. federal appeals court, and I believe his reasoning was because he didn't know if she was outside of the mainstream. But now that he's read, ostensibly, her judicial records, especially those that you were just talking about, now he's okay with her being not on a federal appeals court, but on the highest court in the land. I just don't understand.
Yeah, Senator Mitt Romney, in one of the deepest, reddest states in America, Utah. 10 months ago, he didn't think she was qualified for the second highest court in the land. The only thing that's changed over the last 10 months is that we were able to uncover 8 of 8 cases where Judge Jackson granted supreme leniency, the lowest sentences possible for these child sex predators, people who watch and traffic in these horrendous videos of young kids, including babies, being raped and tortured. We have the transcripts of the sentencing hearings where Judge Jackson is hearing from the prosecutor how awful these videos are, and Judge Jackson is apologizing to some of these defendants and giving them the lowest sentences possible. And it continues her 25-year pattern going back to Harvard Law School. So Mitt Romney hears that and decides, that's a great reason to switch my vote and actually support her nomination to the highest court in the land. It's crazy. And the only thing that you can pin this to is Mitt Romney is so desperate for attention that he had to do this.
Yeah, well, remember, he is the guy that came up with the precursor for Obamacare in Massachusetts. So he's been able to twist in the wind many different directions over his career. I want to ask you about the other 2 senators, Senators Murkowski and Senators Collins. They also are the Republican defectors, 3 in total, Romney, Collins, Murkowski. Were you surprised that they voted or announced they're voting for her nomination?
I was very. Now, unlike Senator Romney, who I have zero respect for, I actually respect Senator Collins and Senator Murkowski. I worked very closely with them during Justice Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing. I was very disappointed in both of them, and I was particularly disappointed in Susan Collins because she didn't even look at the 8 cases that the Senate Judiciary Republicans identified. She didn't walk over to the Senate Judiciary Committee and actually read these 8 transcripts or 7 transcripts, 8 transcripts for the sentencing hearing and 7 pleadings. One of them's under seal from the U.S. Attorney's Office describing in horrific detail what these monsters were doing. She put us through our paces to go through every high school yearbook and chase down every bogus allegation made against then Judge Kavanaugh from 35 years ago when he was a teenager, but she couldn't be bothered to walk to the Senate Judiciary Committee and read 15 documents. So yeah, I'm very disappointed in Senator Collins. If she would not have come out so early, I think that people would have paused and actually taken the appropriate time and done their constitutional duty here for advice and consent on one of the most important positions you can fill, Supreme Court of the United States.
Yeah, no doubt.
Is there any hope of them changing their minds?
Well, we have been having people light up the Senate switchboard at 202-224-3121, 202-224-3121. Call your home state senators. Call, not email, call. It actually matters. I worked in the Senate. I know what these calls do. Let home state senators know, even if you're in a deep red state or a deep blue state, we want the Republicans to find their spine. We want Democrats to be rattled, and we want them to understand the American people, real Americans in the real world, actually care about this issue, and we're not going to normalize pedophilia in this country. We're not going to normalize people who want to traffic in this human filth. The most vile human beings on the planet are these people who seek out, watch, and trade videos of young kids being, even babies, being raped and sexually tortured. They're monsters. 5 years is not enough. They should go to prison for a lot longer than 5 years. And Judge Jackson is just dangerously wrong on this issue.
Yeah, that's certainly the case that was made in public, and I think a lot of people got educated as it. We got about a minute left, Mike. We had Sarah Palin. She's now running for the House seat in Alaska, and she said, we asked her about Judge Jackson. She said, listen, if she can't answer a question that a first grader could have answered, like what is a woman, she doesn't belong in the high court. Your thoughts about the legacy of what Jackson displayed when she wouldn't answer all those questions? We've got about 40 seconds left.
You know, it was amazing to me that she came to this hearing and she was so unprepared, because she has stellar credentials, Harvard Law School, district court judge for 8 years, D.C. Circuit Judge, granted, for only 2 years. She should have been more prepared, and she was very underwhelming in her performance at her hearing. And it should have been, again, this should have been a Grand Slam victory for Democrats. Now it's going to be a Pyrrhic victory at best.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Well, Michael Davis, I can't thank you enough, not only for being here today and joining us several times over the course of the nomination process, but also for the careful research. If anyone has gone to the Article 3 project, you realize how careful Mike documents his work. It was a great research resource for all of us as reporters and for the senators. Mike, thanks for joining us. We really enjoyed it.